Good morning. It is the vlog ride and we are heading into work. It's Monday morning and we're going to talk about film theory. Yay! When I say we're talking about film theory, I don't mean we're talking about film theory. I mean we are talking about briefly the channel film theory, and we're going to be talking specifically in response to a video that MattPat put up talking about whether or not Thanos is worthy of Mjolnir. From here on out, we're going to be spoiling his video, and we're going to be talking about a few different movies in the MCU that is going to include spoilers for those movies. So, this is your warning. I'm spoiling a lot of stuff, so I do recommend going and watching MattPat's video. So go ahead and go do that. I'll wait right here. I'm in my car, I'm driving. I'm not going anywhere. I'm kind of stuck here until I get to work, so you're good. Just go on. Oh, the link's in the description if you couldn't find it. But I mean, you should be able to find it. Film theory is pretty popular. Alright, you back? Awesome, welcome back. Okay, so now that you watched MattPat's video, you see his reasoning for Thanos being worthy. I'm not going to get into the argument about Thanos killing Gamora, because I'm pretty sure I've talked about it. I'll get the link and I'll put it in the description too. So I've had some say, I've got some more say. But I'm not going to get into it, because yeah. I'm not going to get into it because grief is complicated, but we can talk about the difference between sacrifice and self-sacrifice and how these things are not equal. That even the feelings of grief do not make these things equal, in part because Thanos is causing his own grief, but I said we weren't going to go there. Thematically, across the MCU movies, what Thanos does, not just in sacrificing Gamora, but in killing half of the universe and going from planet to planet and murdering half of the people on that planet. Thematically, across the MCU, those actions, no matter what his goals are, do not make him worthy. To understand that, though, we're going to have to talk about somebody else for a minute. We're going to have to talk about Odin. And I'm looking at what exit I'm at. I've got some traffic coming up, so maybe we'll have a chance to do all of this in one video. I'm going to do my best. If I can't, I'll continue it this afternoon while everything is still fresh on my mind for the discussion. We're going to talk about Odin. In Thor Ragnarok. God, I do that all the time. In Thor Ragnarok, Hela tells us that Odin was a bloodthirsty conqueror, and she reveals the hidden murals that show the conquering of the 9 realms. And she presents it to us as Odin's hypocrisy in covering up the past. She's not completely wrong. She's kind of like Steve Bannon, right? She's got part of it right, and then she kind of veers off into moon logic. And if we follow her into moon logic, it does in fact take us to a place where Thanos is justified in the eyes of a heroic weapon, a heroic legendary weapon, to murder half of the universe and sacrifice his child. And here's the thing with that. While yes, the MCU does present moral ambiguity often, that is not moral ambiguity. That is something else. And to be frank, it's not something the mouse is going to go down because it's not family friendly. That is not family-friendly messaging. The mouse ain't gonna allow that. So we need to examine what those murals mean, and I think we are going to be doing a two-parter here. I'm sorry. But we need to talk about what the reveal of those murals actually means. And for that, we need to talk a little bit about post-colonialism, which means there'll be a follow-up video. Yay! Theory! Oh. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Bless me. Okay. Oh, pardon me. All right. Hella's wrong in some of what she says, but she is right that the conquering of the 9 realms so violently is not a good thing. It is wrong. We don't know all of why the 9 realms are conquered. We don't know the fullness of that story. But this is framed for us to know that it was still wrong for Odin to do this. Okay, so we'll get that out of the way first. And it is wrong for Odin to have papered over it and put a shiny piece of veneer over it. But Hela tells us it is wrong because Odin is still a horrible person, and Asgard is a place of hypocrisy. That is her messaging. And that is where she's going off into moon logic. We're taking as truth a dead man's motivations from the mouth of a villain. We shouldn't be doing that. Instead, we should be looking at what else is happening. While we, as an audience, are processing everything Hela has said and what she's beginning to do, the heroes of this story are rescuing the people of Asgard and protecting them and trying to stand up against Hela. That's kind of important because that right there tells us what the actual framing is for this lesson and what statement is being made with the destruction of those murals. The destruction of those murals is not Asgard is a conquering empire. And everyone wants to pretend it's not. Because at this point, Asgard isn't. At this point, Asgard is a place pretty much of peace. They are a prosperous empire. It rules the 9 realms. Mostly there's some stuff going on because Loki. But Asgard is no longer what it was when Odin and Hela took everything over. What we don't see between that and the first Thor movie, when Odin places the enchantment on Mjolnir, is we do not see Odin's arc. Because the Odin of that movie is not the same man who took over the 9 realms with Hela. He has gone through many changes, and we know those changes from his backstory. And we know those changes from the beginning of Thor Ragnarok, or of the first Thor movie. He is a different person. He has had an arc. Hela hasn't. Hela just assumes he's daddy from the conquering. We know he's changed because we have a hero saving the people of Asgard. The lesson of the reveal of those murals is about post-colonialism. It is about not... You can be a good society even after you have done horrible things to people. be that good society, but do not paper over what you did in the past. Do not pretend it did not happen, because you cannot give justice to those who have been harmed if you do that. The shiny happy mural's made because when Odin makes that mural, he knows what he did was wrong. He papered over the past instead of acknowledging the past and making reparations for what he had done. That's the lesson. The lesson is not Odin's still a conquering asshole. The lesson is this good society has this bad history, and it was wrong for them to paper over it instead of making things right. Or at least trying to make things right. Trying to make reparations. Going from that to a true peace and true alliance. That's the lesson of the mural. And that's going to be really important when we talk about the worthiness of Thanos. Because like I said, there is an arc Odin had gone through from the conquering times with Hela to the first Thor movie. And we'll cut there. We'll make that our stopping point. So this afternoon I'll pick up and I'll talk about how Thanos and Odin compare, and I'm going to talk about why the enchantment is placed on Mjolnir, because I do believe there is something that Odin was doing, and what that thing is informs who is worthy of holding that hammer. So join me back this afternoon. It'll be afternoon for me when I record. I'm not sure when it'll actually be up, but please join me back for part 2. If you like this discussion, please like, share, subscribe. Hit me up on Twitter. Share your comments about what I talked about here with the conquering of the 9 realms and what the destruction of the murals mean. Share your own thoughts about MattPat's video, if you would like to. That'd be cool. And in the meantime, peace.